So, so before, like, I saw this reports and they're like, "Oh, CM Punk is at Raw." I was just like, "I'm gonna wait and see what happens," because I was like, I mean, I get that, like, why it's a big deal, but it's also really not a big deal. I mean, it is and it isn't, especially for like the legal purposes, because they had a lot of legal issues between the
Right.
two of them. So for that aspect, yes. And I was like, yeah, and I don't know why he's there. But then, like, the next day, it came out that apparently he was in Florida because he was doing some MMA stuff. May have also been where he was meeting with Chris Jericho and FTR and Tony and whoever else was
To
in that
have
meeting.
his meeting that he was supposed to
May have
have.
been why, because he was already going to be in the area for MMA. May have also had the meeting as well. Sounds like he got on a flight home. There were some other WWE people, and he's probably like, and he started talking to them. They're like, "Hey, we're going to be in Chicago." To me, it sounds like they're like, "Do you want to come?" Like they had just invited him. Maybe he showed up on his own accord, but the way it sounds like it played out was that they're like, "Hey, you want to come?" And he was
They were
like,
all in
"Okay."
Florida. They were all flying to Chicago because the show was in Chicago. They
Yeah,
were
and he was
hanging out on
flying
the
home.
plane, and
He's like, "Why are all these WWE people on my plane?" And they were like, "Because there's a show in Chicago." And he's like, "Oh, okay, let me go." And so people, and from what the reports are, he was in full view the entire time. He never was in like a private room with anybody, especially. So he did see, from what the reports are, he did see Triple H. They were out in public. In a public area, everybody saw them. They never went to a private room together. So it's not like he was back there like angling for a job or something like that. From what it sounds like, he wanted to try to talk to him, and then I guess Triple H informed him that Vince was there, and he was like, "I gotta find out if you can be here." And so in the meantime, apparently he met up with some people. Apparently he cleared the air with the Miz. Nikki was like, maybe he's in therapy and we don't know it. He's being told to make amends with people. I mean, maybe he is just doing.
this has been something that a lot of people have talked about that I listen to, is that their hope is, and because either they know from their own personal experience or from family members or whatever else, is that part of therapy, part of CBT, part of addiction recovery, even you don't seem like you have an addiction, you might have an addictive personality, shopping. I mean, whatever. So the idea is that hopefully these are signs that he has maybe taken steps for his mental well-being.
Right.
And that he is actually following through on the amends, or the attempts.
And that's why he wanted to meet with Triple H, because they clearly had a lot of issues. Maybe he was like, "Hey, can we go somewhere and talk?" And then Vince, because people were like, security kicked him out. No, it came back that Vince was not comfortable having him there and asked him to leave. And they said, CM Punk said, "Okay," and he left. But
he even went, from the way that it was reported, is he went straight to Triple H, essentially, to basically say, "Is this cool?" And Triple H said, "I have to clear it with the big man." And that's when he was able to make whatever talks he made with the few people he did.
Right.
And then he was like, "Bro, we can't have you here."
Yeah.
And actually there is a fair argument for this, and just the appearance of any sort of interference.
Sure. Right.
Like,
you can't make it
legal. He can't be backstage as a signed talent to another label.
Even though Ricky Starks was backstage at Royal Rumble. I mean, I think it was Royal Rumble. And I think he apparently tweeted and deleted and said that they need to get rid of security cameras or something, because, that's how he got busted, was he was seen on security camera, and that he got busted about it. And,
but it wasn't. There in no way did it sound confrontational.
No, it didn't sound like he was there. And like Daza asked if he was driving a tank. Unfortunately, he was not driving a tank.
That was a suggestion that I heard from some people.
Brad said, "I'd like to root for the best for Punk and hope he's sincere this time. History isn't on his side, but I have a small bit of hope." And like we talked about a couple episodes ago, nobody, just because he wants to, because apparently people are like, "Oh, he apologized." Oh, because I saw the tweet. He apologized to the Miz before he apologized to the Young Bucks. Well, first of all, we don't know if that's true. Second of all, we talked about it before. Just because he wants to apologize to somebody does not mean the other person has to accept that apology. They can say,
Correct.
I'm not ready for this. I don't know if I'll ever be ready for this. I don't want to talk to you. Like, just because he may want to make amends does not mean that they have to accept it. That's not how this works. Like, they're not obligated to do anything. Nobody is. Nobody's obligated to do that. And so maybe he did apologize to the Mids first, because maybe the Young Bucks don't want to deal with him. Maybe they're still really upset and don't want to talk to him. So, and they're being
Well, it
forced
sure
into
sounds like that from all the reporting, is that they don't want to deal with him at all. They don't want to work
which is
with
their
him. They don't want to be near
yeah, and
him.
that's their prerogative. They don't have to. And I'm sure he can understand why they wouldn't want to. All he can say is, I would like to talk to you. I'd like to clear the air. And if they're like, no, we don't want to, then CM Punk has to be like, all right, well, that's just how, I did my part. You didn't want to. That's okay. Fine. I'm here probably because Warner Brothers wants me here. And I think the Young Bucks know that. Like, I think they know this is not Tony forcing them into this position. This is Warner Brothers being like, we're giving you a show and this is the guy that we want, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. And so so hopefully it is, hopefully it is, that's what he was doing. He was making amends. I don't know. I don't see as this malicious thing that people are making it out to be. I don't think it's that. And then people, because he was at Impact last night, people are going to be like, look at him, he went to WWE. Well, he went to New Japan when they were here too, to support Mercedes. Like, and I think that, like, when he knew
away, he was like 8 feet away from Dave Meltzer.
Yeah, right. And so I was like, I think from what it sounds like, just based on the reporting, I don't know how accurate this is. He knew that Trinity was going to be in Chicago and was like, oh, she's in my hometown, I'm going to go. But it sounds like he didn't even know WWE was going to be in Chicago. And then he saw WWE people on his flight, and we're like, why are all these WWE people on my flight? And they're like,
why would he be keeping up with WWE?
Yeah, exactly. So it sounds like the Impact thing was pre-planned, because he was going to go hang out with Mercedes. He was going to go support Trinity, and he knew that. It just happened that they were 6 days apart. Like, I don't think it's anything.
I'm going to be
malicious than that.
Totally straight up, because this is where I'm at with it. And
right.
One day I'll get my tinfoil hat for y'all, because this might be one that's like a little conspiracy-ish. But
right.
The bottom line is, they're pretty much, I think, going to announce a show that has CM Punk starring in it.
Right.
So why would he not be doing what equates to and it's wrestling?
Yeah.
He's doing a PR tour, you guys.
Yeah.
He's got a show coming out.
How dare you? How dare you get people?
How
like we talked about.
We're talking about him right now. We're upping his algorithm.
Well, that's what we said last week. Collision doesn't even exist yet, and we're talking about it. Like,
we're gonna probably clip our conversation and put it up again, and it'll say CM Punk on it. Like,
right.
In a world like this, in a world of like social media and mass media and constant like disruption media, where it's like, no, look over here, squirrel media, like, of course he's out there
right,
doing things, and it's working.